weather today, and I think I see baby animals outside. Let's have a look later, huh? Now, with that in mind, what did I read today? Usually good weather means you can fly your drone to capture some good sceneries, but how about this one? Where somebody pleaded guilty to flying their drone over a game that they shouldn't have. This one says, Pennsylvania man pleads guilty to flying drone over Ravens-Chiefs AFC Championship game. As it says here, a Pennsylvania man must serve 1 year probation for flying a drone over M&T Bank Stadium, interrupting the AFC Championship game between the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs. Matthew Hebert, 44, of Concord Township in Delaware County, pleaded guilty on Thursday in U.S. District Court in Baltimore to knowingly or willfully violating U.S. national defense airspace, according to court records. U.S. Magistrate Judge Charles D. Alston also ordered Hebert to pay a $500 fine. The sentence is what federal prosecutors recommended as part of the plea agreement. His attorney, Justin Lake, could not immediately be reached for comment. The NFL suspended the AFC Championship game on January 28 because of an unidentified and unapproved drone incursion. FBI Special Agent David Roski wrote an affidavit in support of a criminal complaint. Officials called an administrative timeout not long after the Chiefs scored a touchdown in the first quarter. CBS broadcaster Jim Nantz said the drone was interfering too close to the play. And according to this, they were tracking the drone near the house. They went there, and as you know, the guy was in trouble. And what was his reasoning, for example? It says, Hebert told investigators that he had been flying a drone, a DJI Mini 2, but assumed that he was allowed. That's because the app that he used to operate the drone did not prevent him from doing so, which happened in the past when there were temporary flight restrictions. Law enforcement reported that Hebert did not know until troopers told him that he had disrupted the game. He did not have a drone license or training. Oh, would you believe that? I think that's believable in a lot of cases where initially when people start flying things, for example, like a DJI drone, they just assume that app actually matches things like local laws and stuff like that, when in reality, it's just DJI's assumption, for example, thinking, oh, I don't think you should, for example, fly here and there. And at that same time, actually, with these temporary flight restrictions, for stuff like that to work, people have to actually update their apps, for example, to have an updated database to see what's going on. So technically, if a person never actually updates the firmware or anything like that, and then all of a sudden there's some kind of new restrictions, then they would actually be able to fly. And the same can hold true the other way around too, where if all of a sudden when you downloaded it, for example, it determined certain airspaces was not flyable, but now it is, you'd still have to update it to tell the drone, okay, now I guess you're allowed to fly there now. So what would you think in terms of the punishment? That's kind of interesting to think about, because I know there's other cases where people were charged a lot more and all that. Could it just be this guy's excuse of saying, oh, I didn't know? Would you believe it? Do you think this is appropriate and all that? And speaking of dangerous drones and stuff like that, actually, this was kind of interesting as I was watching this online where people were saying this is apparently video of Myanmar rebels using attack drones of sort being 3D printed. So you can imagine it'll be like non-stop, I guess, like a constant flow of it. And it almost sounds like this is being placed just in the middle of the jungle, for example. So you can imagine that if all you need is a 3D printer to make this work, you just literally put it anywhere if you're in a war of sort, huh? Are people terrified of stuff like this? But it makes you think, just in terms of that contrast again, in terms of how in places like here anyways, there's so much focus on going after, let's just say, a recreational flyer or something like that. Yet in these instances, you read these stories all the time where there's people actually weaponizing them and they don't seem to get as much, I guess, attention in that regards. And this was an interesting read with a lot of companies trying to get into the AI game. Apparently Apple bought out a company here in Canada. It says here, Apple's new AI move just changed the game for all iPhone users. Apple just ramped up its AI plans after buying Canadian startup DarwinAI. It comes just months before the release of the iPhone maker's iOS 18 software, and as Apple makes its first major push into generative AI this year. Apple bought DarwinAI early this year, and the firm's employees have joined the iPhone maker's AI division, according to Bloomberg, which cites people with knowledge of the matter who asked not to be identified because the deal hasn't been announced. Ahead of the iOS 18 launch, which is already earmarked for a number of cool AI-enabled features, Bloomberg describes how DarwinAI makes technology that can inspect components during the manufacturing process. So I was trying to find information about the company too, and funny enough, when you go to their sites and their social media pages that they link, it's all been taken down. So I guess they literally just got absorbed to become part of Apple per se. Although there were some details, like in terms of the description of the company, what they're about. It says, DarwinAI is a rapidly growing visual quality inspection company providing manufacturers an end-to-end solution to improve product quality and increase production efficiency. Our patented explainable AI platform has been adopted by numerous Fortune 500 companies, easily integrating AI they can trust and results they can see. And again, just from reading some information online, it seems like it's more geared towards things like the manufacturing process, so more logistical in terms of how this AI is supposed to help. So maybe that was the intention, or who knows, maybe they'll use the tech in some, I guess, software related applications as well. But yeah, either way, interesting in this case in terms of them completely just absorbing and buying out the company, because usually in these cases, they still let the company run just as a subsidiary of sort. I haven't used AI as part of my regular daily life as of yet anyways. Haven't really found the platform that could, I guess, do something really well to justify replacing something I do manually anyways. I think so far, in most cases, I just use it to summarize like various work, for example. It just makes it a little quicker. But this is the way of the future. Who's gonna come out ahead? All right, see you guys later.